Knockout legends in the building. Like, comment, and subscribe. So today I'm going to talk about Errol the Truth Spence. And I want to ask a question. Has Errol Spence ruined his reputation? Now, first off, he called for the rematch after the fight and activated the rematch clause. But based off this article here by Michael Coppinger, I'm not going to read the whole thing, so I'll leave it there so you can see. But because of eye surgery and cataracts, basically the rematch couldn't go ahead. And he cites this as a reason as to why he probably didn't look as good, because obviously he couldn't get out of the way of certain punches. So maybe his eyesight was really bad, because it did look weird. He looked kind of ordinary and looked pedestrian, you know. And I don't know how we thought that style would have worked. But I remember, I think it was Ryan Garcia was saying the night of the fight he was high. But on the footage, when you see him walk into the ring, he did actually look like he was high, like he was on weed or on some other kind of drug. So I don't know. But anyway, why would you call for a rematch if you know you're going to have eye surgery or you've got eye problems? A lot of it is, I think, pride, and I think also down to the PBC factor of trying to keep fans invested in him as a product. So calling for the rematch and then obviously knowing you're not going to fight him based off the, you know, the calls for the fight initially and how long it took, and him being the boogeyman and so forth and other, and then all of it turning out to be just cap. And then you get dispatched kind of easily by Terence Crawford, the guy that you're supposed to be able to just defeat easily, and he's not fought anyone. It's kind of a bit ironic, isn't it? Another thing that we have to look at is him not being disciplined and in shape, because as you can see, he blows up in between fights. There's no discipline. When you look at Terence Crawford, he's always in shape. He's always on job. You know, he's a beast. He can deadlift quite a lot. He can bench quite a lot. He's just a pretty straightforward guy. It's kind of true as well, the analogy what somebody said about the press conference for their fight initially, when people looked at Errol Spence, he looks like a rapper, and then you look at Terence Crawford, even though he's dressed in I think it was Louis Vuitton or is it Gucci, he looked like a mechanic. It's someone that's ready to go out and work. But in that the best way and the best analogy of maybe why the approach to the fight from the both alternative camps is so different, and why one camp had better success than the other. Because if you approach things like you're a mechanic, you're going to break things down. So you're studying your project, and you're studying how to either break it down and then put it back together again. So it's like a puzzle. Same thing with boxing. You look at your opponent and look at how you're going to break them down and figure out what tools you're going to use to take them down and take them apart. You know, instead of smoking weed and, you know, partying and drinking and you know, getting your groove on like a rapper, that's you kind of taking your eye off the ball. That's not the point. You want to keep your eye on the ball. You want to be focused, disciplined. So that's where, you know, being in shape and being on job and being right. But then anyway, moving on, also not paying Derrick James. The fact that he didn't pay Derrick James, and now that they're going through this bitter lawsuit and both sides are suing each other, it's a bit kind of ironic, since Derrick James got Trainer of the Year. And I think Spence Jr. argues that because he trained him, that's how he's got the other fighters in his stable, i.e. Anthony Joshua, Ryan Garcia, and so forth. And because of that, that's how he's basically making more money. But they had apparently a verbal agreement, and obviously James wants more money. But initially, what I've heard from sources is that he didn't actually want to work with Derrick James, and his father had to pay him to work with Derrick James. But if that's pretty bad, if that's true. But anyway, to be fair, he looked, you know, good under James. considering James won Trainer of the Year. So, you know, and James has just pulled off a masterstroke in, obviously, Garcia beating Haney, so he can't be that bad, you know what I mean? So, and maybe in a sense it was down to injuries, the car crash, you know, the eye not being right, and him obviously not being disciplined and being out of shape. But that's his fault. It's the same thing with Andy Ruiz. How can you win the heavyweight title and get a unified title and then just start eating loads of food and get out of shape? And even what was his name? Triple G's ex-trainer, I forgot the guy's name. It'll come to me while I'm talking anyway. But he even said, because he used to train Andy, that he knows Andy won't come in shape for the next fight. Joshua will win because he's his own worst enemy. You know, the success, the fame, it went to his head and he just got greedy and basically he didn't do the prepared work for the rematch. And poor Manny Robles, he did all that work with Andy, and he just kind of got basically shitted on, you know what I mean? Because he is actually a good trainer, Manny Robles. But anyway, also the blocking of Crawford's chance to fight Fundora. But I'm glad Fundora saw what he saw and then decided he didn't want to fight Spence and he'd prefer to fight Crawford. But still, just the fact that he did that is a bad hater move, you know. And him and Charlo hating on Crawford, it's just weird, it's bizarre. You know, I thought they would have moved past that and let that go, considering he got beat. But obviously it's bitterness and it's sour lemons. Maybe he should wait until he gets himself back in shape and his eyes in better condition and then rematch Crawford. You know, because it's still a big payday. But I don't think at this point anyone wants to see that fight, you know. And it kind of like has paid to Spence's stock. Because remember, he went around and collected all the other 3 belts. And he did actually face stiff opposition and beat, you know, good fighters. So that's one of the reasons why a lot of people like Errol Spence. So for all them things that I've said, for him to actually do that, it kind of like diminishes who he is as a boxer, because, you know, all the good work you've done and all the thing you've put in to get where you've got, you know, it kind of like puts a little bit of a cast of shadow on you, you know. Because if you look back, like at probably from, I'd say, Chris Algieri going up from 2016, you've got Leonard Bundu, you've got Kell Brook, you've got Lamont Peterson, Carlos Ocampo, Mikey Garcia, Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, Dennis, or Ugas. You know, they're all good opponents. You know, they're all, well, you know, Kell Brook was, at the time, people say Kell Brook was already broken because of the eye socket with Triple G fight, you know, but Sean Porter was solid, so was Danny Garcia, and Mikey Garcia, maybe he was a bit of a weight bully in that fight. Lamont Peterson, still no slouch, even though, you know, he was getting on a bit, but obviously still a decent fighter. Carlos Ocampo as well was undefeated at the time, so, you know, his record speaks for itself. But anyway, what are your thoughts on Spence? Has his stock diminished? And can he redeem himself with a couple of good wins? Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Like, comment and subscribe and tell me what you think. And that is another one from the one and only Knockout Legends. Peace.